Okay, I'd like to call the Executive Committee to order, and again ask anybody to declare pecuniary interest either now if it rises down the agenda. Information items, I will turn this over to Kelly.
Through you, Mr. Warden. First up, with committee's indulgence, I would like to introduce our business investment specialist. And once I've completed the introduction through you, she will go to the podium and make a couple of opening remarks. The position that Stelina Williams is our new candidate is the business investment specialist for the energy sector, and this role is the outcome of the partnership between Bruce Power and Bruce County, and we've been very active for the past month, and we're thrilled to have Stelina join the team. Stelina brings to the position a wealth of experience and knowledge, in particular of regional economic development, investment attraction, in Bruce Power's operations, and of course the energy sector in Ontario. Most recently, she worked with Bruce Power as a communications specialist, and a number of Bruce County staff have actually had the opportunity to work with her on prior initiatives. In that role, her function primarily supported the company's, excuse me, the company's corporate objectives through building and fostering good working relationships with key internal and external stakeholders. We're very fortunate. She has a solid understanding of the nuclear industry and the energy sector in Ontario. Prior to going to work with Bruce Power, Stelina spent 12 years in the Ontario government. That in and of itself makes her very going to be very successful for this role. She spent the majority of her career in economic development. She has provided executive level support and has held various positions that work directly with businesses and business immigrants. She understands Ontario's business climate with an intimate knowledge of funding programs and support services for businesses. Most recently, she led the development and delivery of the Southwestern Ontario Development Fund and has worked closely with a number of the businesses in the area, having a strong awareness of local and regional economic development challenges and opportunities. From an education perspective, she holds a Master's of Public Administration from the School of Policy Studies at Queen's University and is an undergraduate with an honors degree in political science from Laurentian University. She lives in Kincardine and has 3 children. So through you, Mr. Warden, I'll invite her to the podium.
Please. Welcome.
All right. Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity just to say a few words. I'm really excited about this position, and I'm really excited about working with county, all of the municipalities, and Bruce Power to move this forward. As Kelly mentioned, I spent the majority of my career working on supporting economic development initiatives and economic development and business investment efforts across Ontario, from policy design to program delivery, from working with rural communities to working with large urban centers, to working with recently landed business immigrants to open up businesses in small rural settings, to working with the auto industry. And I cannot think of a better opportunity than the one I have now to support business investment in Bruce County, to help ensure the long-term viability and sustainability of the region and of Bruce Power and of the energy sector in Ontario. As Kelly mentioned, and I think as you're all aware, in June, Bruce Power and Bruce County signed or agreed to a memorandum of understanding. And with that, I believe it's the first of its kind, or there's not very many out there like it, where they both recognize the importance of establishing a consolidated approach to economic development as it relates to Bruce Power's investment opportunities and other innovation opportunities. So this meant the creation of this position, and I I couldn't think of a more fitting and exciting opportunity than to be able to lead it. I do want to quickly just go through some of the key functions of the position so that, I guess because I'll be coming to all of you at some point, so we can all work together on this. So the primary functions include facilitating local and regional economic development planning process to support this initiative, working with existing organizations, and making sure that we're all on the same page and working together. The second piece is to support and participate in community economic development committees and forums to be able to develop that working relationship with everyone in the county. The third major piece is to develop a nuclear business investment strategy to include an economic analysis of the region, and that's to the point, like understanding what lands are available and understanding what we have available in the region, doing an assessment of Bruce Power's long-term business needs, and an action plan for how we can move forward. A fourth piece is to research, identify, and provide recommendations on regional economic development and business investment opportunities that we should be pursuing. And then also working with the prospective businesses to be able to access the information they need to make informed decisions, to help them connect with local contacts and government incentive programs, and then to act as liaison between Bruce County and surrounding areas. So as I said, I think this is something that we're all going to be able to work together on. As working together, we will bring more businesses, more business investment to the area to support Bruce Power's investment and helping secure the area as an energy hub in Ontario and maybe even eventually in the world, for the world to look at us as like an energy leader in how we work together. And I just wanted to kind of end on, out of all of my past experiences, this opportunity brings me back to my first job. The very first job fresh out of school I had was working in rural development at Omafra and Guelph. And one of my very first tasks was to review and develop a youth attraction strategy for smaller communities. And through all my research, the one thing I found is that the number one reason why young people, or I guess anyone, choose where they want to live is lifestyle. So it's the kind of lifestyle that brought me here, and that's probably the same reason that we're all here. However, the number one reason people live where they live is because of employment. So without the employment opportunities, lifestyle becomes an irrelevant factor. So I think we are in a unique position here to offer both the amazing lifestyle, the long-term sustainable career opportunities, and I'm just really excited to be a part of this great team and create the environment we need to help bring the businesses here, to bring the jobs here, and to bring the people here for generations to come. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Stelina. Questions from committee? Comments? Anne?
The municipality of Kincardine looks forward to working with you as well, and you've chosen a great place to live. But I'm looking forward to your expertise. We've just have this newly formed Economic Development Committee, which is community-based, as you know, and so I think you will be able to help us move our objectives along a lot, as well as at the county overall level. So thank you and welcome.
Other comments, questions? I too want to thank you and welcome you to the County of Bruce. And this is really exciting times. I think we have an opportunity as a county here to do really, really good things for our communities. And anytime you need any help from the Warden's Chair, please give me a call, and I would be more than happy, as will my fellow mayors, on making this a successful program. So again, thank you very much, and this is very exciting times. Okay.
Through you, Mr. Warden, Stelina will be joining us for lunch, and we'll do proper one-on-one introductions with all of members of council at that time.
Okay. Thank you. All right, what do we have next? Okay, so the operational review, Kelly?
Okay. Through you, Mr. Warden, a report has been provided to committee. I didn't think in the interest of time, I'll go through it in real detail, but just overall, I want to provide reassurance to County Council that we've had a terrific first 6 months of the year For the operational review, we have surpassed the 50% fully implemented recommendations, and by the end of this year, the goal is that we will be at 75% implemented, and ideally by the 1st of 2018, I'll be looking for you guys to give me my next major initiative, because we'll be finished with this ideally in 2018. The first part of 2016, we really moved the organization substantially, in particular from the work of the cross-functional teams, and the policies that they have put together have been phenomenal. The work of the branding and imaging group, I don't think can be overstated, and the work with the planning and development group, I should back up one step. The 150th birthday anniversary for Bruce County has really come together quite nicely, and under the leadership of Anne Marie Collins, we're looking to have a very exciting year next year. Going back now to planning and development, the operational review had probably for that department, they were the heaviest impacted by the operational review, and I really want to recognize excuse me, Chris LaForest and his two key leaders being Bruce Stickney, who is in the gallery, along with Caravan Mile, who is on holiday at the moment. They have really set the county up for the future, and how they've completely revamped the planning process and the corporate policy. The committee, a little over a month ago, received the first report in terms of the federal budget, and that's the first of many to come. They really are doing a terrific amount of exciting work. The area of economic development in the Business Enterprise Center, the question from Councillor McGeever earlier about the expansion across the county, that is absolutely the next focus of that group, is to get into the communities across the county. And as important as Director LaForest said in his report, the 2016 year, the county has seen tourism numbers that we don't think we've ever seen before. And obviously it's after years of investment, and it's a tribute to all of the local communities and the work that the local communities are doing, but you're starting to see the true payoff of that investment. Corporate services have done, I think you'll be very pleased with the changes to the program budgeting tool. In particular, they designed in-house a dashboard that, from a user perspective, you'll probably quite appreciate. They heard the feedback throughout the budget process in the start of the year, and they've implemented those. The work of the IT division within corporate services, that group also deserve to be in particular recognized. They did they've just completed a series of pilots, in particular SharePoint, and as all the directors have suffered through our preparations for our annual business plans, it's going to make that part of our world much more streamlined and focused. The balance of the departments, again, I'm not going to go through all the particulars of the report, but to recognize that they've done a lot of really good work, and as they give you the updates, I think you'll be quite pleased with the commitment that they've made to the operational review and to their annual business plans. And lastly, it's important to also recognize, in particular, Director Knox and his team. They've had a year of many challenges, and the fire in Wyerton was really just the icing on the cake. And we're going to get that structure rebuilt, and we'll be doing well. But it has been a difficult year, and they've persevered, to their credit. So with that, I can turn it over back to you, Mr. Warden, and answer any questions, and otherwise we can turn it over to Corporate Services to go through.
Thank you, Kelly. Questions? Ann?
I just wanted to say there was a comment made at our council last night about operational reviews and strategic plans and things like that, and I think everybody has to be quite impressed that you said 55% of the recommendations have already been addressed, and that you're aiming for 100% by 2018. I really think that you've put extraordinary effort into taking the operational review seriously and implementing it. And I really have to commend all the staff for that, because I'd like to know in the province or other areas of municipal government how often that happens. I'd be happy most times if you got 25 to 50% implemented over the next 5 years, so quite impressive.
Thank you, Ann. Other comments? Okay, hearing none, we will move into the Q2 reports. First up is CAO.
Through you, Mr. Warden, the updates for my area I've already covered through the prior report. I would like to highlight the work again in terms of the alternate work location and adverse weather policies. I think we're going to see this coming winter year, the real payback for that policy implementation. And of course, the focus on education and operational stability that we've completed now, cohorts 3 and 4 in terms of the launch of those cohorts with Loyalists. We're in the process of finalizing cohort number 5, and we're at a stage now in the organization that will be introducing what's called Loyalist Light, which is for those staff who are not in management positions but have a great future with us, that we want to set the stage for their future development.
Thank you, Kelly. Questions, comments? Okay, hearing none, we will move on to Corporate Services. Good morning, Betty Ann.
Good morning. So I'm pleased to report on our corporate services initiatives. We had 7 major initiatives that we are managing in 2016. The first is the revision of the capital forecast template and the multi-year operating budgets. And in order to do that, we're also obviously looking at our operational budget as well, and the consolidation of that. And our CAO mentioned that we have listened to the comments both from our elected officials and from senior management, and have designed a new revised template that has been issued and has been provided some training on that, but in particular the dashboard. And they're always, I guess, from my experience, county council, you're always interested in the detail, but at the end of the day, you are interested in the bottom line. So we've developed the dashboard, and it is to help a little bit just to see that initial reaction, not just for elected officials, but for us as managers, as sometimes when we're preparing a budget, we get down to the fine strokes, and we're very satisfied with what we have. And when we look at the bottom line, it doesn't always jump out at us that maybe that increase to the levy. So what we've developed in the dashboard is some color coordination. So it would suggest that if you see a red dashboard, it would probably suggest that you might want to stop and revisit that section, just because of the increase that's expected, or that if there is an increase and it is in red, that you have the rationale now, and you have the information that's being provided to you as our elected officials and to our CAO that we can rationalize why that expenditure. Yellow would suggest that you proceed with caution, and green would suggest that based on our experience that that type of an increase would be acceptable. So while we think it's very beneficial, we had a little bit of fun with that as well. So hopefully that highlight will assist us all as we move forward to our deadlines. We're also very excited. In August, we will be delivering the updated asset management plan to our senior management team, and then at our September Corporate Services Committee, we will have citywide here, and they will be presenting that updated asset management plan to Corporate Services Committee. At the time of writing this, we had scheduled a demonstration of FMW budgeting software, and that has occurred, and we are going to, it is being used by other municipalities. One in particular is Lambton, who has had some success, and they have agreed to come and meet with our senior management team to discuss their successes that they've had with that. So we will be looking to bring that forward as well. With the cross-functional team working on procurement, and that is going to be rolled out to corporate services in the upcoming weeks, we are looking forward to implementing those changes and working with the cross-functional team and senior management. We recognize commitment accounting, purchase order system. It's all part of that review, and the finance team has been working very hard to implement areas where we can become more efficient and we can streamline, cut our own red tape, and yet make sure that we are still following the policies and that we're accountable and that we are transparent when we're spending public dollars. Item 3, nothing to report. It is on hold pending some additional information. The BMA management consulting study, this is was included in the budget, and we will be proceeding with that. We are just in the midst of providing the information that we need. This is so that we have benchmarking, our key performance indicators, that we are comparing ourselves to like municipalities. In speaking with the consultant, this is a topic where you can be in it every year, or you can choose to do it every 3 years, every second year. So obviously what that means in the end is that you don't always have comparators that may be the best. So in speaking with our CAO, I've suggested that we reach out to the Western Ontario wardens, and that perhaps that they could recognize this as an important initiative, and that for the most part other counties would also participate in this. It costs, the actual cost to be in it for a year is $1,000, and then of course the staff time that is required to prepare the information for them to include. We do have some of our lower tier municipalities in the county, not all, but some are participate as well. So that's something that we could look forward to broadening the scope of that as well. But if we were to ensure that the other upper tiers, in particularly southwestern Ontario, were on the same cycle as we were, perhaps every second year or every third year, that would certainly be beneficial to us. The electronic records management, again, is part of the pilot project that we are utilizing SharePoint that was discussed earlier. We continue to look at best practices for our e-agenda solutions and just the overall management of our records, whether they be paper or electronic. Information technology, certainly we continue to move forward in that area, and one of our key initiatives at this point is to develop a strategic plan that will move us forward and strengthen our core IT services and how we deliver to our customers, which of course is the other departments and the county in general. Unified communications, this is a message that has been brought forward in all of our cross-functional teams from having a central telephone to how we manage using Skype for business, having hoteling areas, having one central phone for our visitors and customers to call us to. So this is an area, a pilot project, which really would be identify some of the pre-engineering, has been developed, and we would be looking to move that forward later on in 2016 as we develop the strategic plan and ensure that those initiatives all fit into the puzzle as we move forward. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Hearing none, thank you, Betty Ann. HR.
Good morning. It seems like I was just here.
You were just here.
Okay, so today we're pleased to report on the HR Q2 results, and the update that we have for you on our 8 goals is the Loyalist Leadership Program is well underway, and so as a result we had 3 HR staff members enrolled both in cohorts 3 and 4. Corporate succession planning has been delayed as other priorities have stepped in front in order to get it in order and do a comprehensive plan. We want to make sure that we've got the groundwork in place before we move forward with that particular initiative. The performance appraisal system, we're currently under review, and with the new functionality of the software that we have received approval to purchase, that will help target with that particular initiative. Number 4, the corporate training and professional development in the training matrix. So we have completed our new employee orientation rollout and continuing Avanti training, and entering previous training data is also underway there. And our 5-year HR strat plan has been delivered to the HR team, to the CAO, and also garnered information for the department heads. So we're currently working with Jill Root on getting it into a corporate template, which was previewed earlier today. So we'll be bringing our plan forward in that particular template. With the reassignment, number 6 of Management Paramedic Services, the Joint Steering Committee was created pursuant to the mutual commitment of the County of Bruce and Grey to conduct a fulsome review of the EMS Service Delivery module. The EMS Joint Services Review Project is anticipated to take between 6 and 8 months and currently is underway. And we're continuing to build our positive labor relations with the union partners as well. So legislative compliance, we're on target. So we have completed, as you know, the RFP process, and we'll be undertaking that very shortly in Q3. As far as legislative compliance goes, we have completed our mock health and safety audit, and those results have been shared back to department heads, and we are currently working on the implementation plan. Not on the particular business plan, but I think it's notable if you've looked at our website, we have launched e-recruitment, and under e-recruitment you'll see a career connector now where you go in to apply for openings. So we have now automated our recruitment methods, and we have a lot of workflows. They're very automated and intuitive to help with that. So still fairly new, and I think people are still working their bumps out of that particular process, but it's going to be of a huge benefit to the county.
Thank you, Marianne. Questions, comments? Hearing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, Chris.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. You may notice a slight difference in the report this time around just because we were challenged to sort of compress the different program areas into one report. So now you'll see planning this together with both corporate policy and economic development. So you can begin by taking a quick look here at some of the KPIs. I'd mentioned previously in terms of the land use planning side, we seem to be a bit busier than we had expected. But at the same time, we've still been able to branch out and work on some of those community projects. So if you go about 4 or 5 lines down, you'll see major policy updates where we committed, we thought we'd spend at least 10% of our time working on some of those projects. And so despite high volumes, we've been able to maintain that. Up to the very top, in terms of strategic corporate initiatives, we've been working on the Bruce brand, the Economic Development Strategic Plan, corporate communications function. We're beginning to investigate that in terms of media, analyzing how the other directors handle communications and seeing if we can come up with some consistent plans or strategies at the corporate level. And finally, working on a project to look at GIS capacity in terms of form and function. We do have one job that's become vacant as a result of a retirement, but prior to filling that, we want to take a look at the broader long-term view where this should be heading in terms of GIS and work that position around the new role and function. In terms of corporate communications, again, we've been working on the activities update and hoping to bring that to the corporate level in 2016, and again, doing media releases for other departments as well. In terms of information and support services, just some of the behind-the-scenes projects, you remembered that we did some work in and around the federal budget, and a lot of the comparative data was from the Environics software, and it's actually really a lot of fun. It looks like it actually works as is intended to work. And so we're doing some work with a museum based on postal code information, as well as library, and of course the Adventure Passport. So to try to use postal codes that we're collecting to drop our next campaign into targeted markets based on demographics as shown up in postal codes. So that's a very quick rundown in terms of the KPIs. In terms of the major initiatives, we've listed 10. Some of them I've covered off a bit in the previous report. But this whole idea of the Bruce lens, I mean, I think we're sort of coming up with a solution to that in terms of the branding and imaging and speaking with one voice and so on and so forth. And the next biggest challenge is how that applies to land use. And so we're working on that. We're asking ourselves that question and reviewing those policies. It's in conjunction with potentially coming up with more plain language solutions as we review and update the county official plan. It's very complex, it's very wordy, it repeats numerous times, so that'll be combined with that for delivery in early 2017. Don't need to talk too much about the Bruce brand, you're familiar with that. Launch of some implementation, a couple of implementation subgroups that we're working with out of our department as well. 911 Municipal Addressing Policy Manual has been completed. Number 5, in terms of the restructuring of the hubs, as I can say, it's finally completed. We were able to recruit the last person into the Lakeshore office, which is the planning application technician, and that body is actually in that seat and has been for the last 3 or 4 weeks. So we're very proud to have that filled. In terms of options to improve efficiencies and effectiveness of services, we talked about some of our internal workings on customer satisfaction and trying to create a paper trail, and we look forward to working with IT and completing that work out in 2016 at the corporate level as well. Our northern office is working with the town of South Bruce Peninsula on their 5-year review update. Very simple update in some areas in the rural area, but a bit more complex in growth areas such as Wyerton with the business park. 2 Class EAs currently being undertaken in conjunction with that, and also their development charges study we've been involved in as well. So everybody's familiar with Walkerton official plan, working on their 5-year update and review. You're familiar with the North Bruce Peninsula Hazard Mapping Wetlands Pilot Project. We've engaged the consultant and moving into to phase 2. And again, an interesting project to be completed in 2016 as well. And finally, we're taking all of the background information that we've worked on with council in the last 2 years in terms of reports and functions and flow charts and who does what, and trying to compile that into the baseline for our economic development strategy to be brought forward to council coming up in the fall of this year. There was 2 vacancies that we're looking at filling in economic development. One is the economic development officer sector and economic development officer business, and that's currently underway and should be completed in the very short, within the next couple of weeks, I would say, hopefully. So.
Good, thanks, Chris. Comments, questions? Anne?
I missed it before, and I don't know whether this is, maybe I missed it in here somewhere, but Kelly referred to the best tourism numbers ever for 2015, and I'm assuming it was 2015, or is it this year, 2016? So you're already seeing an increase over 2015.
So at this point, it's the anecdotal evidence is very strong, coming from speaking with the operators, particularly in places such as Tobermory. If you're in Wyerton in the summer on the main street is becoming full, as well as the park. And then I think next year what's going to happen with the 150th is going to be the homecoming effect in 2017, and on top of that, there's going to be free park admission to the federal parks in 2017. So we might want to go on vacation somewhere else and just lock the doors. Yeah, so I think it's, part of it is strong marketing. We've been trying to really target more so as opposed to a guerrilla type outdoor adventure marketing. And so it's starting to get some traction. And a lot of our programming now is being, the challenge from the strategic plan from County Council is, what's going on behind the doors of those businesses. So we're, shifting to business development services, helping people write business plans, all the rest of it through the BEC. And then secondly, with tourism infrastructure, a big push on completing the signage strategy so people know how to get around and to continue with the efforts through the Spruce the Bruce program to improve the quality of the experience.
Mike?
Just a comment, Chris, I see you've changed the key, or I guess you've consolidated those key performance indicators from the previous quarter into one. So and some have dropped off and some.
If there's something you would like to see there.
No, I just wonder why you picked those particular ones, and it's not a big deal. We're still able to collect the other ones through a number of mechanisms because we do have time trackers still. So for example, we used to show the number of hours spent on just simply processing applications and the timing, so that's it's still available. But it was just a question, once you add them all into one table, but there would be 2 or 3 pages of them. So I think we were over ambitious when we jumped into it. So again, if there's something you'd like to see, it could come back.
Other questions? Hearing none. Thank you, Chris.
Yep.
Brian.
At the suggestion of the past director, we'll be very brief. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Warden, I should say. The first element is the KPIs. With respect to paved roads, the percentage of good to very good, you saw the 2015 actual numbers come in as we look at the financial information return and apply it to our business KPIs. If I can offer, I presume county 2016 projected PCI values will rise substantially as we paved 20K on Road 33, which we're paving right now over by the lake. We'll pave 20K on Bruce Road 40 in Erin Eldersley and Saugeen Shores. We paved Glamis recently, and we put a top on County Road 6 East. So I'm optimistic that that number will go up dramatically in 2016. For bridges, our percentage of bridges good to fairly good was 56.05 in 2015 based on the FIR information. Is if I can offer that we languish a little bit on improving that KPI for bridges because we're investing so heavily in single structures. We opened Big Irwin Bridge last week on the boundary between Old Brant and Elderslie. Next year, we've got scheduled McCurdy Bridge over the Saugeen River, again on the boundary between Brant and Elderslie, $3 million. They absorb a lot of money for a single improvement that doesn't really affect the KPI value. So you'll see that the bridges will flounder a little bit in terms of improvement, yet roads will increase substantially. Moving to maintenance of roads per kilometer, our costs in 2015 were down a little bit as we didn't complete some major activities like crack sealing and shouldering. We anticipate that to recover from that in 2016 and onward. For the cost of maintaining a kilometer of road in the winter, we saw the value down in 2015, and as you can appreciate, we had a major under expenditure on winter maintenance in 2015. We again will have a similar under expenditure in 2016 on winter maintenance. And as we do budget for 2017, we will probably reduce our $3.2 million winter maintenance budget down to something more like $2.5 million for a number of reasons. But so you'll see that the dollars per kilometer will affect in 16, 17, and 18 for winter maintenance. Moving to years of landfill consumption, our 2014 report was filed last fall for the actual of 30 years. In 2015 report this fall will be filed, and it will likely say about 29 years of aggregate landfill site capacity remaining. And I understand there's an improvement in northern Bruce Peninsula that may be on stream this year that may bump that up. And then naturally we probably lose a year of consumption value per year as we look into the future. MHSW material collected in Q2 is actually what we've collected to date, which is 58 ton. Looking at, oh, thank you, Mr. Warden. Would you
like me to do that?
I was wondering, yeah, you could actually. In terms of our business plan objectives, the first of which was considering affordable, accessible public transportation. CAO Kelly and Brian are working together on a Grey Bruce Poverty Task Force to look at alternatives and moving forward on that initiative. For the highways organizational structure, we're undertaking the department organizational review, expecting to have a result for you at our August 11th committee meeting. Items 3 and 4 we've deferred into 2017 as we manage some other uncertainties in the department this year. Number 5 and 6 are 5-year plans for roads and bridges. We're moving ahead with coming up with those plans, as you'll see in our capital forecast. Number 7, the determination if we should continue building roads in-house. Is I know the operational review, the organization, the Highways Department organizational review will comment, I hope, on that. And again, looking at some of our neighbors and counterparts, regions and counties, and seeing what they do and making comment on whether it's appropriate and how we move ahead with whether we continue doing construction in-house. Naturally, that has an implication on department shape, size, and on costs of future work. Environmental assessment on West Road, you've heard the recent report on that, and consolidation of bridges on county roads. As optimistic as I was and my love of bridges, I'd love to have moved forward on that initiative. We don't think we have the horsepower to see that through in 2016. We'll have to defer that into 2017. And that is our report, Mr. Warden.
Thank you, Mr. Knox. Questions or comments? I take it you've been in discussions with Old Man Winter with regards to dropping the budget?
Seeing their response to yesterday's request for rain, yes, we put some requests in there, but
okay.
Again, if I can offer, is we spent $1.6 million on winter maintenance to date. Our average in the fall is about $800,000, so we're expecting probably an aggregate winter control budget cost, I should say, winter control cost in 2016 of about $2.5 million on a budget of 3.2.
Fair enough. Other comments? Good. Thank you, Brian.
Through you, Mr. Warden, both Tanya Dickinson and Angela Schmidt will be delivering the Social Services and Affordable Housing update on behalf of Director McDonald.
Thank you. Welcome, Tanya. Yep, just do that across. There you go.
Good
Do
morning.
you want me to run this for you too?
Yes, please.
Okay.
That'd be great. The 2016 Business Plan Q2 update for the Social Services and Housing Department is before you. Staff have made steady progress toward the implementation of activities to meet the goals identified in the plan. In Q2, similar to Q1, there have been new initiatives arising, items 9 through 11. In Q2, the new initiatives are related to provincial announcements of opportunity for funding for the integrated housing system and the social housing electricity efficiency, or the SHEEP program, as well as the announcement of the transformation agenda for the family support programs in Ontario. In each of the program areas, staff continue to project KPI results based on a combination of actuals and projections, as noted in the legend. With regards to SAM's reporting, there are some items that staff are manually correcting to provide the data. As at the second quarter, the capital projects delivered on time and on budget continue to be tracking well. It is likely that there will be time and budget constraints that will lower the KPI outcome, particularly with additional work that will arise with the implementation of SHEEP and the social housing infrastructure program that was announced and reported on as at the July 7th committee. The significant capital projects are listed, items 12 through 22, and each have status updates. A reminder that the number of business days from screening to financial eligibility decision for Ontario Works is a new KPI for 2016. Staff identified this as a meaningful measure to assess whether we're moving beyond the impact of SAMs. The results of the KPI in the first quarter were impacted by a busier than typical start of the year. However, in the second quarter, we reached our target of 6 days. The next quarter will be telling if this has stabilized to maintenance with the new processes in place. So next, moving on to the initiative summary. With regards to the Service Delivery Hub approach, staff have been working jointly with planning and development, as well as corporate services, in the implementation of the hub at Burford Street. As at Q2, staff have made progress on integration efforts in a number of ways. Of particular note, the Internal Communication Staff Working Group developed best practice guidelines for client communication, as well as shared consents for use across the department. Implementation will proceed in Q3. With regard to the Community Child Care Registry on the One List, Bruce County was launched in April and is moving forward as expected. Staff continue to market its use. With regard to the implementation of the long-term housing plan, the expression of interest for the development of 8 new units of housing was approved. Additionally, the YIMBY team participated in a facilitated discussion of roles and responsibilities of the team to assist in the effort to forward the actions in the long-term housing plan. With regard to enhancing employment support, staff partnered with Grey County Social Services, VPI, YMCA Employment Services, and Georgian College to offer a trades workshop for men and women. The client satisfaction evaluations were positive. With regard to the end of operating analysis, staff continue to work with the consultant, and results will be presented to committee early in Q3. As at Q2, 3 municipalities have updated their zoning bylaw to be congruent with the Child Care and Early Years Act, and the others continue to be a work in progress at various stages. The last 3 initiatives have been added to the business plan during Q2, as mentioned earlier. Staff continue to prioritize work in order to address these items, provide the greatest opportunity for impact toward our overall goals, and to respond to the transformation and funding opportunities as arising at the provincial level. So I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Questions or comments for Tanya or Angela? Anne?
I thought we had, it went through our council too, to reflect the new Child Care and Early Years Act, but maybe you haven't received it yet.
I believe that we did. It just wasn't, excuse me, time for the Q2 update, but it will be in the list on the next update.
Mike?
Can you just enlighten me a little about the social housing electricity efficiency program?
Mm-hmm. So it's a program that is specifically for energy efficiency upgrades, in particular for social housing units that where the tenants pay their own electricity, where electricity is the main source of heat, and that are single units or townhouse style units.
Well, that money, is that provincial money?
It is provincial money, yes.
Milt, you sure putting these rookies through the ringers today, aren't you?
Yeah, well, this is an easy one, so. No, it's the YMCA Employment Services and Georgian College. Are you familiar? They call it a workshop. What do you, are you familiar with that, or?
Sorry, I'm not familiar with that, but Angela maybe.
I'm sorry, so what was your specific question? See if I can.
Just how involved, like a workshop, what does it actually mean? How involved is that workshop? And it's to make men and women better, more employable?
Yeah, it was like a trades workshop to help our clients experience and find out what kinds of trades are available, and to see if it interests them, that it's something that they could follow through on to gain training and employment, and help move them to sustainable employment and off of social assistance.
Okay, so it is a workshop and not really a training?
Correct. It's an introduction.
Yes.
So it's really just touching a touch point that can make those connections and have that one-day experience of just trying it and finding out what's out there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. It was very successful.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Any other comments, questions? Hearing none, thank you.
Through you, Mr. Warden, one additional comment I would make to the question from Councillor Smith in relation to the social affordable housing electricity fund. That is designed to complement the LEAP program that we're doing with Westario Power.
Charlie.
I didn't realize you had stopped, Madam CEO. I thought you had just taken a breather. I hesitated. Apologize for that.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. The Bruce Lee Haven. Yes, you're going to operate that? Thank you very much, Mr. Warden. And through you, Mr. Warden, I would like to...
Put that on, Charlie.
Oh.
There you go.
Can you hear me now? Through you, Mr. Warden, I would like to share the Bruce Lee Haven business plan, Q2, and just to comment on the quality performance indicators. The first 5 that you see on your screen, these are what we refer to in long-term care as the county indicators. And on the next page where you see an additional 9 to 11, those are the care indicators. I do want to comment and say that at Bruce Lee Haven, the county indicators as well as the care indicators have seen really good improvement, certainly in this last 6 months. But if we just go to this screen here, please, thank you. I just want to make sure that everyone, when you get this information from long-term care, that you realize that the care indicators, the provincial averages there, 2015 provincial averages, that data is really, right now, it stands at Q4 provincial data. So we're really comparing Q2 in 2016 to 2015 data. So it's sort of a very difficult to ascertain as to really where we are standing with the province. It looks, if you were to look at the screen, you would say, oh, Bruce Lee Haven's care indicators are really, we're not going to reach them. But as was proven in our very recent resident care inspection, just held the last couple of weeks, Bruce Lee Haven really took that data from last year and saw where we were as far as the province is concerned. Our care was lacking or needing improvement. They really took the bulls by the horn, as we sometimes say, and they just passed with flying colors their recent resident care inspection. And I would venture to say that by our Q4 reporting, you will see a drastic improvement in Bruce Lee Haven's care indicators for sure. because the province will have recorded that in a different style. Yes, Madam CAO.
Through you, Mr. Warden, this is thrilling. We do have a recording of this, so. No, I'm being serious. It's wonderful that we will reach the target for the long-term care facility. It's great.
Thank you. Moving on to then the major initiatives, and number 1 for Bruce Lee Haven, number 1, 2, and 3 actually are comparable to Bruce Lee Haven and Gateway Haven, but this update I would like to share that as far as the major initiative number 1 is concerned, the aligning of both long-term care homes in our policies and our operations. We're moving along quite nicely in that area. We are consistently having not only joint meetings, but as far as management styles and what have you are concerned, both homes are very comparable or becoming very comparable, and I see some really good strides and success in that area. As far as our initiative number 2 with EMS and long-term care homes, commencing researching into opportunities of efficiencies between those, the 24/7. No work has been really progressed on this initiative until the administrator role at Bruce Lee Haven is recruited, and this remains an achievable goal for the year. Number 3, to enhance public relations. Again, we're leaving this initiative to the major part of until an administrator role is permanently filled at Bruce Lee Haven. Moving on to number 4, the Arjo lift and tub replacement, which was a major capital initiative, if you will, that has been brought to completion, and successfully so. The building automated system for Bruce Lee Haven, that the Ecosystems energy audit has been completed, as you know. And that is the Bruce Lee Haven Q2.
Questions or comments for Bruce Lee? Milt?
Mr. Chair, Charlie, the number 2 initiative, you say this remains an achievable goal for the division for 2016.
Yes, in regard to researching opportunities, in regard to how the two, the EMS and long-term care can join. We've had some discussion with EMS, but very limited in regard to how the two services, if you will.
But our other initiatives that we have with EMS, that's...
Through you, Mr. Warden, to Councillor McGeever, the Joint Review Group on Paramedic Services, the RFP was released this week for Stage 2 for the facilitator to come in, and once that is complete, which we're expecting will be in October, then we will have the ability to give a recommendation in terms of next steps.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Other comments? Mike?
Just a question. I look at both the waiting lists, and they're down significantly, Charlie. I think like both of them were 22 and 32, and they were 40 and 30.
You're talking about the care?
The waiting lists.
Oh.
Do you want me to go back?
Yes, please. The waiting list for Bruce Lee Haven, as far as, like, we're down from 40 to 32.
Yeah, and 30.
Yeah, that really isn't worrisome. I mean, I think if I was to check today, our waiting list, for instance, today is 39. This is a number that we received from CCAC, and the average for 2015 was 40. And we're thinking that that should remain the same for 2016. But it usually bounces anywhere between 35, for Bruce Lee Haven, 35 to even up as high as 42, 43. But currently, when I put this report together back a few weeks ago, The actual number was 32 for Bruce Lee. It's not, it shouldn't be worried. Definitely.
Okay, any other comments, questions? All right, Gateway.
Gateway Haven. Again, the county indicators indicate that Gateway Haven is, I believe, well within our benchmark, not to be worried. The care indicators that are indicated and determined by CI, or CIHI as we call it, CIHI, provincial average, Gateway Haven seems to be, I have no concerns. I think that certainly we're going to be well within benchmark by the end of the year for sure. Moving on to Gateway Haven's major initiatives, as was mentioned for Bruce Lee Haven, for the first and second initiative. These are joint initiatives, and the report is the same. Number 3, enhancing public relations in the community through education of services offered at Gateway Haven. In May, the facility had scheduled their meeting or getting the community together, but they were in suspect outbreak at the time, so this has been rescheduled to the latter part of June, I understand. So I see that to be in place. Number 4, replacement of communication systems at Gateway Haven, replacing the existing nurse call bell and telephone systems and including a resident wander guard system. Stage 1 of this initiative involved recabling, and an RFP for the same was given and actually currently has been accepted, and the cabling work is starting. So that's a day update. For this report, at the time of this report, we were in progress, but that's all well underway. I'll give it 2 thumbs up on that. Number 5, commence plans to develop the back property of Gateway Haven. This is a huge initiative that Gateway is wanting to take on, and this year, I did attend this event, by the way, on June 23rd. This year, their big tent event where they draw in resident family members, neighbors, and the service clubs and business folk of the community. This year, instead of housing the big tent event at the front property, they set it up in the back property. It was absolutely, I think, the best big tent event that they've ever had. And I can certainly speak from experience when I say that, as the former administrator for sure. It was an absolutely amazing night. I think it's the best attendance they've ever had. And the folk at Gateway Haven, the management at Gateway Haven, actually, instead of providing, for instance, the barbecue themselves, they encouraged vendors to come, and the administrator, Heather Penny, that night presented their projections, their thoughts, and their hopes and their vision for that property in building a structure there for such events as what was going on. And it was well received by the public. So I think that Heather might have had a little bit of a secret reason for doing that, because projecting for donations towards that property in Handsome. So it was a very successful event. Number 6, their flooring replacement. This project was planned to be in place by this time, but for internal reasons, they've put this project off till the fall, but it should be completed by year's end for sure. And as with Bruce Lee Haven, the building automated system for Gateway Haven, that energy audit has been completed.
Thank you, Charlie. Questions, comments? Hearing none, thank you.
I thank you all.
Through you, Mr. Warden, I didn't comment earlier about the work that Charlie has been doing as the Director of Health Services to really start to merge the operations for the 2 homes, and the fact that he's been doing that with his team, and also doing the other special initiatives is, again, a tribute to Charlie and his team. They've really had a great 6 months, and it is represented in the results last month from the inspection with the ministry.
Good. Yes, thank you, Charlie. Ray. Be easy on Ray today, too. This is his first time.
Yes, thank you. I'm building on from lots of different reports here. So I'll go through just a couple of the key performance indicators. For the first one, total responses, we're about 46, which is halfway through the year. If you do the math, we're not going to be what our projected is, but it's understandable that one will be a little bit low right now. Our call volume does increase during the summer, and we do expect those numbers to go up a little bit, so we'll probably be on track for what we're projecting. Length of time from crew notification to arrival at the scene for the priority calls, we're about 20 minutes, 13 seconds. That's on average similar to what we're doing. We're still, as you'll see, down initiatives, reviewing the deployment plan, looking at call volumes, best places for moving roaming vehicles to try and decrease some of those numbers as well. And costs similar to what we're projecting there. Annual compliance with council-approved response time criteria, we're meeting 5 out of the 6 criteria now. We were only at 3 out of 6 in Q1. Again, that's usually due to the weather and things. It takes a little bit longer to get to the calls, and winter months, they're typically a little bit harder to meet that criteria. So, down to the major initiatives. Again, merging of the paramedic services and long-term care. It's been brought up a few times with different departments. Still on hold pending goal number 2 completion. And that one's the paramedic service analysis between Bruce and Grey counties. The steering committee's met twice. I guess operating committee's met several times in between and then gone back to the steering committee. And yes, there's a RFP that's out there now for a facilitator. Facilitators looking, hopefully we're looking probably areas of QA and training. Results end of September, early October. And pending that, then we'll see where we're going with paramedic services and long-term care. Get those discussions going again. Our deployment plan, we've completed all of that with management staff. We've done some minor changes. We're going to continue to review the analysis of our call volumes, as I mentioned, and locations, and continue that in Q3. A paramedic services strategic plan, again, is on hold pending kind of number 1 and 2, where we are there, and then we can hopefully get a bit more of a long-term plan going. Emergency management plans, we're deferring to 2017. Right now it's an interim CEMC. We are meeting our things right now. There is an exercise that will be going on in the fall, which will ensure that we meet our requirements for CEMC and for the county emergency management program. And 2017 ambulance service review, not a lot of work done so far. Last time around 3 years ago, or 2.5 years ago, it was in April. We expected it to be April, early May. We don't get notification of that until about 90 days before. But later Q4, we'll really be gearing up to make sure that we are ready for the ambulance service review. We're a little bit luckier than the homes, whereas it's not necessarily spot inspections. We get at least 90 days notice when they're coming in to get our paperwork in order. So, and last one, replacement of 2 ambulances. All our ambulances that we plan to get for 2016 have come in. We do have new county logos on them as well. And we have in here in service mid-July. They actually are in service now. We've got 2 old vehicles now that are slated for decommission and will be disposed of, and we're just working with purchasing to determine the best route of that. Typically it's the government auction is the way that we're going, and hopefully dispose of those soon.
Good, thank you, Ray. Questions, comments?
Okay.
Going late on
Thank you.
Okay, next up is library. I'd just like to recognize a couple guests in the gallery here today. Our library board members, would you please stand and be recognized?
Thank you, Warden, and good morning, everyone. I'm happy to report that key performance indicators for the library are on track. Of note, the circulation of online resources is projecting higher than anticipated and is on track for circulation of over 50,000. Our number of followers on social media has surpassed projections. And our staff training hours in current technologies is a bit low, and with the assistant director now on board, there will be an effort to increase training in Q3 and Q4. Moving on to our initiatives, we have to date approximately 815 hours of staff time spent planning and delivering programs in library branches. This includes the Program Planning Committee, which meets quarterly. As mentioned in the KPIs, we have 117 hours of staff time to date in training and current technologies, with an effort in the next 2 quarters to increase that. The museum library management structure, Director of Museum Services and I have met. We have done the research and we anticipate a report in Q3. And library accreditation, as of Q2, I have met with all the branch supervisors. We've completed the process of evaluating the branches, and in Q3 we'll work to address any improvements. That's it.
Good. Thank you, Melissa. Questions, comments? Hearing none, thank you.
Thank you.
And through you, Mr. Warden, Janice Mawhinney will be delivering the museum update on behalf of Kathy McGurr.
There's a lot of rookies here today, isn't there?
Yeah. I get to go last and everyone's hungry, so
Well,
that's
and
good.
we have a half an hour to kill, so there will be lots of questions.
Oh, no. Hopefully I can talk slowly.
No, I'm just kidding.
Thank you, and through you, Warden, we'll provide a recap of our Q2 results for the museum. So our cost per household remains unchanged at, from Q1, so no significant increases are noted. Memberships were well over our projection for the year. Membership remains a strong growth area for us. This number does fluctuate throughout the year with the membership cycle and renewals as they come up. Community partners, we're tracking well. We anticipate a few more partnerships before the end of the year. In terms of social media, we're also doing well, like the library. We still, we're expecting to surpass our 2016 projection. And total number of visitors is tracking well for Q2. We're watching and monitoring closely for the start of Q3 as we're entering our busiest season of the year. Just going on to the major initiatives. So the number one initiative, our traveling exhibit for the year, Chagall for Children, was launched in May and has been well received from the public, from our visitors, and from school groups who attended that exhibit. We do anticipate that we'll be a little over budget due to the U.S. conversion with a slight overage of $496.27. We'll be confirming the final total for the rental and shipping in Q3. Our revised tourism strategy work is still underway in this area, and an update is also scheduled for Q3. With museum and library, as Melissa just mentioned, Kathy and Melissa are meeting on that, and we'll provide a greater update in Q3. The museum strategic plan, so the accommodation plan implementation is in progress. On item number 1, the offsite storage report will be brought forward to council for the August 4th meeting. Item number 2, a feasibility study has been drafted and awaits processing. An RFP for feasibility study is out. It awaits processing in August, and a grant was applied for through the Canadian Cultural Spaces Fund, and that was submitted on June 10th and is a pending approval. In terms of a donor strategy, we are in the process of prepping donor lists and analyzing our base and awaiting outcomes from the feasibility study. Number 6, to develop and launch 2 in-house exhibits. So the Rise of Community opened in June. And we're waiting on final invoices for the total budget. We're anticipating actually being under budget on that one. No impact to budget since funds were from reserves. However, good news is that the reserve account, since we won't be pulling as much as originally anticipated. And the First Nations exhibit has been revised. New costs represent $130,801.05 over a 2-year period for 2017 and 2018, and discussions with potential sponsors are ongoing, as well as a grant application has been submitted on June 30th, again for the Canadian Cultural Spaces Fund.
Good. Thank you, Janice. Good job.
Does anybody have any questions?
Mike?
Just one around the First Nations exhibit. When do you I know you're really in kind of preliminary there, but what's your target date for the exhibit?
For the exhibit, we'd like to, depending on the funding, launch it in, I think, 2017, 2018. Chris is doing a lot of work right now on research and planning the floor plan and the layout, so there is a vision there, just looking at the budgeting figures.
Thanks.
Good, thank you. Any other comments? Madam CAO, thank you, Janice.
Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Warden, again, it's been a terrific first year, or first half of the year, I should say. The team have done an absolutely phenomenal amount of really good work, and in particular, I would like to recognize the pinch hitters who sat in today on behalf of Director McGurr and Director McDonald. You did a fantastic job and gave terrific updates. The only area that I would like to comment on that's sort of causing me a bit of angst and concern, and I feel the obligation to provide a bit of an update on it, is right now we're not sure what's going to happen with CCAC and what the Ministry of Long-Term Care are going to be doing in terms of that relationship. And I wish I could give some clarity. There's a lot happening, but at this point, we as basically a service manager, for lack of a better term, are really quite out of the loop in terms of how it's going to change. I think on behalf of Charlie and his team, I'm pretty confident in saying it's going to change, and that service model will be changing, and inevitably it will have an impact on how we deliver long-term care services to our residents. In particular, the admissions process is probably the biggest concern. Indirectly, we are predicting that we're probably going to also see a bit of a shift with paramedic services connected to that potential change as well. So I just put it out there as an area that is live, and we don't have a lot of factual information yet, and as soon as we do, we'll certainly share it.
Thank you, Kelly. Mike?
Thanks, Mr. Warden. I just wonder, Kelly, if there's some value in with AMO coming up, there's some value with the delegation about some to the minister. I suspect they'll drive you. I suspect they'll just refer you to the LIN. But if there's some, uncertainty that or if we want some input to it, I think it might be worthwhile to have a delegation with the minister.
Good point. Ann?
So does the Western Wardens Caucus, or do you do that sort of thing as well?
We haven't had that discussion, but
I'm just thinking there might be some strength in numbers there, because the CCAC is fairly large, and because I think it's very important to not find out later after decisions have been made.
When's the next CAO's meeting?
Through you, Mr. Warden, it's actually on Friday.
Okay,
and I've asked for an update because I won't be able to attend. So, okay. But it has been raised as an issue among the CAOs as well.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Milt?
This exercise that we've just gone through here, I do appreciate the exercise, and it helps keep me abreast of the activities that are occurring throughout the year. And just to deal with it once at budget time, we tend to forget, and so this is good. It keeps us abreast of the activities, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Milt. Other comments or questions? Hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn? Mike and Paul. Wow. Put his hand up. All those in favor? Lunchtime, yes.